So Joe recommended I check out Metro 2033 because he thought it'd be some good reference for something we're working on, and so I figured I would check it out. I thought it was a little too standard first-person shootery for my tastes, and not horror enough. And certainly I wouldn't really consider it a horror game, but I was actually quite pleased with the game, and aside from some gameplay issues, I thought it was really quite good. One of the things that I think it really excels at is the idea of building a world, and I think this is really important, and certainly in my favorite game of all time, I keep whipping it out, Panzer Dragoon Saga, and even all the Panzer Dragoon series. The thing that impresses me the most is how compelling the world is that they create, and you really feel like you're somewhere else in this different post-apocalyptic world, even though there's like 10 polygons on screen maximum. So it's really impressive. And Metro 2033 creates this amazing sort of post-apocalyptic world, and I don't know why, but lately I've really been into sort of this whole post-apocalyptic world feel. You know, something like The Walking Dead and all of those things. I find it really compelling. And so in Metro 2033, you're living in the subway system of Russia, because I guess there was a nuclear war. I don't know if they really say for sure, but maybe I didn't get the notes. But I assume there was some sort of nuclear war, and only the people... yeah, they probably said at the beginning, and I just forgot the details. But anyway, so only the people living or the people who were in the subway system survived, and then there's terrible mutants take over. And my favorite parts about it, and I think there was a whole article on Kotaku or something about the intro segment to the game, where you're in this, cramped little underground lair, and you can walk around and explore the things, and just listen to people's conversations, and I think that's something really special about the game. I mean, I think the developers recognize that is a big appeal, and so it's funny. I'm cheating because I'm not through Last Light yet, but I've been playing it, and there's an achievement if you watch this like in-game show that's like 10 minutes long, then you get an achievement or trophy or whatever. But they actually went through the time to create this, reasonably length show with all these different acts in order to flesh out the world, and I thought that was really special, and they really do a lot of cool touches, although the only thing odd is that you see a bunch of copies of Metro 2033 and Metro 2034 scattered throughout the world, and then in Last Light there's posters for Metro 2035, which isn't even out yet, but I mean, I think it's kind of a neat in-joke, but it does sort of take you out of the world, and because presumably in the world of Metro 2033, no one published the book that happened to be very prophetic for the game world. But the actual gameplay, aside from the world, I'm not, like, super nuts about, and it's interesting, though, because I'm playing the Redux version, and there's, like, I don't know, there's almost like a difficulty matrix, and I don't even know if I can list all the difficulties, but I'm playing on normal, and then there's, like, Ranger mode, or, like, something else mode, and there's one that's more like survival horror-y, but it seems like the survival horror aspect of it is just the scarcity of ammo, which I'm not a fan of. Obviously, I'm a big fan of horror games in general, but I don't think creating tension from, lack of ammo works, at least for me. To me, it just creates frustration, and there was definitely some frustration in Metro 2033 for me. I almost gave up the game. I'm glad I didn't. But there was this one particular scene where, and it's kind of interesting because again it's based on a book, so it seems like the world is a lot more fleshed out than like a movie. You just have the 2-hour runtime or whatever. So I mean, like, it seems like the IP has more depth to it than a lot of adaptations of whatever medium. So I don't know if we'll see more video game adaptations of books, but I don't know. I found that the depth of the world really interesting. But there's these rival factions. There's like the Nazis and the communists, and they're fighting, and you have to actually go between their sort of World War I style, enemy lines that are really well defined, and it's there's a ton of enemies, and so it's kind of like a stealth thing. Only I'm terrible at stealth, and I didn't really like the way the stealth works in the game, because I can't really figure out, like, a lot of times the way to handle the situation in the stealth is to find some secret passage that bypasses things, or puts you somewhere else, and then you can go at the enemies, or you have to wait really long time to see if they'll walk away, and listen to the conversations. But then at one point I tried doing that, because I was trying to walk through, and the guy walked right into me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't win here. And so I was very frustrated, but eventually I found that, like, also the other thing that I was doing is I was trying to just avoid the enemies, but then when I got noticed, which I'd always get noticed, then every single enemy I avoided, like the entire level would come running towards me, and then I'd just have to fight off like 1,000 guys at the same time. And the checkpointing system was really weird. It would like checkpoint me like way far back, and then I'd have to go through a bunch of mundane things. And then, like, eventually I got a little better, and then it would checkpoint me, like, 30 seconds forward from the point that was, like, 3 minutes from where I was failing, or 4 minutes from where I was failing. It would just checkpoint me 30 seconds forward in that part. So, I don't know how that system worked, but it was very frustrating and all of it, and I'm terrible at stealth, so this may just be a problem that I had, but all of this compounded, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, screw this game, rah! But then I, had that sort of gamer pride, like, I'm not gonna let them beat me, I'm gonna figure it out, and then, certainly realizing that I needed to kill all the enemies, not just avoid them, made things easier, and, yeah, but overall I think the game succeeds, and it's interesting because I think, I mean, obviously there's the whole stealth elements, and you're fighting monsters, but the game itself feels a lot like Call of Duty, in that it's relatively linear. I would say less so than Call of Duty, and it has those cool exploration things, inside the cities or the metros or whatever they call them, which are my favorite parts of the game. But the basic level formula is you often have someone guiding you, Khan or whomever, and they basically tell you, go here, go here, go here, do this, do that. At least in Call of Duty, I felt like that was a little constrained, and there was a little too much hand-holding. And granted, I've only played Call of Duty Ghosts, so I can't make judgments, across the entire franchise. But for Call of Duty Ghosts, I felt like, I wanted a little more, gameplay in that sense. And certainly Call of Duty does a really good job of, these big moments and a lot of the excitement. But I think that the formula worked because, the story in the world was what I was really engrossed in. And so even if the shooting setups weren't, like, super spectacular, and I wasn't doing, like, a ton of exploration, although they do have some bonuses that, you know, the keys and the safes that sometimes are hard to find. So I mean, I'm not complaining about the gameplay, but rather I'm just saying that it's interesting because, you know, the sort of hand-holding that didn't quite work for me in Call of Duty, you know, I think worked really well in Metro, and yeah, overall I really enjoyed the game, and because they did such a great world, and there's a lot of attention to detail, and all the signs are in Russian, and everyone has, all the voice actors have Russian accents. You do feel like you're sort of in this, you know, Moscow post-apocalyptic subway station, although I imagine they would all be speaking actual Russian and not English with a Russian accent, but I think it would be hard to, you know, overhear. Sometimes there's like two conversations you're trying to overhear at once, and like it's only displaying subtitles for one, so I think actually listening to it in Russian would be tough, but if you can, and good job, I'm sure that's even cooler. Anyway, thanks for watching.